Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. Now, quite a few things in this video, and we're going to talk about speaker cabinets. And I'm not talking about, what wood it's made of and those kinds of things. No. Instead, I'm going to talk to you about the way I view speaker cabinets. And I have quite a few of them. And usually when I'm playing guitar, okay, I'm using two little tube amps. They're Super Champ X2s. And I run those into cabinets, speaker cabinets. Because on their own they have little 10-inch speakers, which isn't bad. I did replace the stock speakers. I didn't care for those. But I also got some cabinets. And ideally, in a perfect world, when you're playing in stereo, you want everything to be the same. So, 2 amps, 2 speaker cabinets, with the exact same speakers, right? And this is the way I had thought about speaker cabinets. Okay? However, as time went on and I started accumulating different cabinets, I realized that there may be nothing wrong with using 2 different speaker cabinets with 2 different speakers, in fact. Okay? And because I had some speaker cabinets that were not matched sets, Now I do like having the same 2 cabinets, with the same amps and things. But I have also some speaker cabinets that are just 1. In other words, I don't have 2 of them. Right? So what I could do is to use 2 different cabinets, right, that aren't matched at all. Now, it may not look cosmetically, as good as 2 matching cabinets, but in this case we're not going for looks, we're going for sound. Okay, now a quick disclaimer and warning. If you want to try this at home, basically if you're using a tube amp especially, and you're disconnecting a cabinet and then hooking in another one, that's a good way to blow up your amp, okay? You really need to turn off the tube amp, switch cabinets, and then turn the tube amp back on. Would be the proper way to do it and save you from possibly blowing up your amp. The other thing is, make sure that you're aware of the proper ohm rating of your amp and your cabinet. Okay, for example, my little Fender Super Champ X2s are 8 ohm, right? Tube amps, basically. And so they like 8 ohm cabinets. Now you can go above ohm-wise, so you can go up to 16. So 8 or 16, right? But, for example, if you hooked up, a 4 ohm cabinet or something, that would really put your little tube amp in danger of blowing up. So quick disclaimer, You gotta really kind of know what you're doing as far as ohmage and turning off the amp, switching the cabinet, and turning it back on. And the temptation, and I've done it and it's been bad news, is to not turn off the amp and just really quickly, you know, switch cabinets. And I'm telling you, it's bad news. Don't do it. It's a great way of hurting your tube amp. And in fact, the more I think of it, when I was younger and just starting out, I had no idea that you needed the right ohmage and that kind of thing. And I had a tube amp and it kind of blew up on me. Actually, you know, caught on fire, actually. And I think now that I think back, I think that's why. Right? Because I was hooking up and all kinds of speakers and things, and unaware that you have to really match the ohmage. The ohms, A-O-H-M, right? Alright, so that's a quick disclaimer to protect your tube amps from doing this kind of thing. Now, to start out with, I wanted to go through some of the cabinets I had that you can hear and things, and then what we're going to do is swap one of the cabinets out with another cabinet, mismatched, and see what happens. I might get some very interesting sounds. Now, we're going to start out with my little Vox cabinets. And I mean, these things are tiny. Let's take a look at them. Okay, now here's a little Vox cabinet. It's really small, as you can see here, right? However, it has a full 12-inch Celestion greenback speaker. You can see it here. There you go. This is the back. It's kind of a semi-open back. And there you can see the greenback Celestion speaker. Alright, so we've got the greenback speaker. We've got two of them. They're a match set. This is originally when I was always thinking of exact match duplicates and not really changing, you know, mismatch speakers and things and mismatch cabinets. So let's hear these, and I can tell you ahead of time, these are great. I mean, they're just freaking amazing, especially for the size of the cabinet. These are probably the smallest little speaker cabinets that I have, you know, and they hold a 12-inch, you know, greenback speaker. And remember, the Super Champ X2 is about 15 watts, and the Vox greenbacks can handle, you know, about 25 watts. And you know, they're usually made by Celestion here. So these are probably licensed or what have you. So let's take a listen to those. Okay. there I'm just running through a plethora X5 from TC Electronics, which has a delay and reverb on it. Right, kind of this ambient type sound, you know. Well, I mean, I just love these things. They sound huge. And if you see the little cabinet they come through, you know, it's amazing, really. The sound is so very crystal clear. They never seem to break up, you know, in a bad way anyway. And just nothing wrong with that at all. And I love the sound of them. Okay, so that's the little Vox cabs. A long time ago, one thing I should tell you is that I tried to sell these. And my thinking was, well, it's a cabinet, so you'd want a 2x12, right? Or even a 4x12. You get the biggest sound you can possibly get. However, that's not always desirable. For example, if you're recording or if you're playing a small show, you don't want to show up with a freaking huge cabinet, right? And these were so small, and I thought, well, I don't know. So I tried to sell them, and thank goodness no one bought them. You know, which is really, I'm thankful for that, because they are now one of my favorite cabinets. You know, and I'm telling you, if you run across one of these, I would buy it. They're really great. I mean, especially for their size, it's quite impressive, the sound that you get out of them. And I'm not just talking volume, but quality-wise, too. Alright, so we're going to start there. Now, here's what I'm going to do next. We'll see. We'll compare the differences sound-wise. I'm going to remove one of the Vox. Right, I have two of them, and two of the Super Champ X2s playing in stereo. So we're going to remove the Vox and replace it with a real oddity, right? And that's the coffee can speaker. Best speaker ever made in the entire world. That's what it's billed as, I kid you not. And I hope you're subscribing, because I often reference old videos, and this is one of them. I did an entire video on the coffee can, right, speaker. It's a Electro Voice coffee can speaker, and people say, oh, it's the best speaker ever made. So we're going to try that next. Now, it's in its own cabinet, and I'm really thankful for that, and I'll tell you why. As a coffee can speaker, it's really big. I mean, in width, right? I mean, it's a big, honking speaker. And in fact, doesn't fit in many amps, combo amps that is, right? And in a lot of speaker cabinets too, you know, especially the real thin ones that aren't real wide. It's just not going to fit in there, you know, if you want a semi-closed back or closed back design. So anyway, this one, right? And it's from the speaker from the 70s, the 80s type speaker. You know, but this particular one came in its own cabinet, and we can take a look at it here. Okay, now here's the oldie but goodie coffee can EV speaker in its own cabinet here. It's an oldie. You can see it's got a little open space here, grill, and its own casters, wheels. There you go. It's closed back, actually. On the back there's just a speaker jack, you know, so you can't really see the speaker, but it's in there. Okay. Alright, so let's take a listen to it, and this is in combination with the little Vox speaker. Alright, so here we go with the coffee can and the Vox. That's big. Definitely more bass, big sound, man. You know, it's hard to believe it's a 1x12. It sounds like a 212. So there you go. There's the coffee can, Electro Voice speaker with its own cabinet there. Right, actually has wheels on the bottom, casters if you like. Man, big sound. My goodness, it sounds like a 2x12. Huge, and mixed in with the Vox, I think it works really, really well. You know, because the Vox is not very bassy. You know. Yeah, and it really projects, man. Huge. So, here, this is another one that I thought, well, maybe I should sell it because I only have one of them instead of a matching set. But now I'm seeing that I think that just mixing them with another cabinet with a different speaker altogether blends super well and gives you kind of a different sound. You know, if you compare this to the Vox sound, right, and now compare the sound that you're getting with the copy can speaker, right, pretty amazing, really. Okay, so my thoughts on this, the mix is actually really interesting. Without question that one of the big differences, of course, is the low end. I mean, you swear with that coffee can speaker that you're playing through a 2x12 cabinet when it's actually just a 1x12 cabinet. And you can hear that low end, but it still has that soft, sweet mid and high end, you know. It's a really dark speaker, and I hope you could hear that compared to the little Voxes. Makes a difference. But the combination of the two I really like. I think could definitely be worthwhile. In fact, I'll tell you, a lot of people who have 2x12 cabinets have been putting two different speakers in there. You know, if I had to say the coffee can, well, what does it sound like? I'd say, well, it's kind of like a bigger version of the Cannabis Rex in a lot of ways, in that it tames the highs, and it's a real kind of dark sounding speaker, but big, you know, huge. Alright, so there we go. Now, let's try another speaker cabinet. And this time we're going to look at a Fender 2x12 cabinet from the 70s, if you like. Okay, now, I should mention that with this cabinet, in there right now, the speakers that are in there right now are Fender branded speakers. And they come usually with a Blues Junior amplifier, Fender amp, right? Tube amp. Okay, the Blues Junior. So those are the speakers that are in there right now. So we're going to combine the Fender 2x12 cabinet, and we're still going to use a little Vox on the other end here. Okay, well, we can take a look at it here. Okay, now down here is the Fender 2x12. That's the grill of it. There's another cabinet on top of it. But here it is, anyway. 2x12 cabinet, not on casters. There you go, that's the old grill of it. I mean, remember, this is from the 70s. And yes, I've done a video on this one as well in the past. So you can probably find that. Okay, if you look back in the videos on my channel, it's definitely on there. Alright, now here's the Vox on the right. And this is the Fender 2x12 cabinet from the 70s with two of the Fender branded Blues Junior speakers. 12-inch, so it's a 2x12 cabinet. Let's take a listen to that. A big, big sound there. So definitely I can hear the 2x12 part of it. I mean, it's big, huge sound. But it seems to mix super well with the Vox, right? Kind of takes care of the high end, and the 2x12 takes care of the more of the low end, if you like. And I really like the way it responds, especially the low end, where you can hear every individual string, you know, in a chord, for example. So that's the Fender. And let me tell you something, I really didn't like those Blues Junior speakers. But in this 2x12 cabinet, it really sounds pretty darn good, I think, because I hear the clarity, right, that none of the previous had, except for maybe the two boxes, right, the clarity of each note, I guess, is a good way to put it, and when it's mixed with the box, I think it sounds really great, and definitely a different sound than some of the previous cabinets. Alright, so let's continue. And now I'm going to use the box just like we have been on the right side, and on the left side we're going to mix in a Marshall MX212A 2x12 cabinet with 70-80 speakers. And it's a vertical cabinet, and we can take a look at it here. Okay, and here's the Marshall. Let me try to show you here. There it is. Vertical 2x12 cabinet. Alright, you see that here. Closed back as well. Two Celestion 70-80 speakers. Also has a cab on top of it. Okay, but there it is anyway. Alright, now here I've got the box on the right as usual, and now the Marshall MX212A 2x12 vertical cabinet with two Celestion 70-80 speakers. Let's see the difference here. That's a huge sound, man. Big sound there. Okay, so there you go. There's the Marshall, and man, it's a huge sound. A lot of low end there, but also just the projection of it is huge. Alright, so this video is part 1, and here we're going to put them one next to each other, see if we can see a difference. See if indeed, mixing different cabinets and different speakers, if it really changes the sound. Okay, I think I'm going to do a part 2 video, because I've got some other cabinets and we can do some other combinations. In fact, if you think about it, remember, I've kept the little Vox on this part 1 video, on the right channel the whole time. So, we could change that. For example, have a Marshall 212 on the left channel, and then have the EV coffee can cabinet on the right channel, maybe. The possibilities are endless. I think this will be really great, just to get a different kind of tone overall, when playing live, but also recording. It should be very interesting, the mixing, the different cabinets, and I was really surprised how some of the 1x12s, kept their own, and when mixed with the 2x12, you get a really big sound. Very interesting. So I'm going to keep experimenting here, and I'll see you next time. Alright, very good. See you next time. Bye.